All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It's an exciting time at Denarius Metals because the most important thing that I can tell you we've done since the last time we were at Beaver Creek is we started production at our Zancudo mine in Colombia. So we're now considered in our minds a producer. We've got 4 assets in the company. The team has come over from Gran Colombia Gold after we sold our assets to Aris Mining back in 2022. Serafino Iacono, the founder, driving force behind the buildup of Gran Colombia, is the driving force and founder behind Denarius Metals now. When we look at what we're trying to build our next billion-dollar market cap company. And we've seeded the company with 4 projects that we believe meet the criteria that's going to take us there. And in fact, we think that any one of these companies fully substantiates a re-rating of the market cap that we've got today. The Zancudo project that we show there in Colombia was an asset that originally came into the country in the RTO. Didn't expect much of it, but IAMGOLD walked away from an earn-in in 2022 as they focused their attention on Cote and left us with the opportunity we had long awaited, which is develop the asset. I'll take you through that story in a little bit more lately, but it did go into production in June, and we now are executing a ramp-up that's going to see this company give us a tremendous amount of cash flow over the next couple of years. In Spain, we've got a project called Agua Blanca, formerly owned by Lundin Mining up until about 2016. It's a nickel-copper mine, recently recognized by the EU as a strategic project that is expected to come into production mid-2026. In our long-term pipeline, we expect to bring 2 other projects in Spain into production in the next 2 to 3 years. The Lomero project in the Iberian Pyrite Belt and the Teruel project in the north of Spain in the Leon province. Our team is very experienced in mine building, led by Serafino. Many of our team members have come over from Gran Colombia Gold or other businesses we've worked together in the recent years, and we have a focus on execution and delivering on our mandate. We're currently listed on the CBOE Canada under the symbol DMET. We have 124 million shares outstanding. Fully diluted, we're at about 292 million, which includes some warrants that come due in 2026. We've got about 42 million warrants at 60 cents that we expect to get exercised, largely held by existing shareholders. And we've got convertible debentures that I'll take you a little bit more detail of because they are an interesting security as part of our overall enterprise value. Serafino owns 18% of the common shares of the company. We've got a couple of other strategic holders, Aris Mining, 9%, Atten Ventures, which is a European high net worth investor fund. And then we've got a lot of other shareholders, including retail and some institutional holders making up that other 60%. Our convertible debentures were issued in 2 series as we started funding the projects the last couple of years. In 2023, we issued Series 1. They have a 45-cent conversion price. We issued Series 2 in May of 2024. They have a 60-cent conversion price. But what makes these debentures very unique is that they were largely funded by shareholders who put their money into the company through these converts, with the promise that they will receive gold premiums starting in 2026 on a quarterly basis if the spot gold price at the time we measured that is above the floor prices we set way back when gold was around $2,000. If you can look at the chart on the bottom right, you'll see the annualized gold premiums that investors are looking to receive from those debentures. And at $3,500, $3,600 gold right now, people are looking at 85 to 90% gold premiums on their debentures on an annual basis, plus a 12% interest. So these are very robust, and they're held largely by shareholders. The key shareholders that hold them right now, Serafino's got 25%, Aris Mining's got 15%, and we've got a couple of other anchor institutional holders in that all other category that hold these debentures. And the question we often get is, how are we going to pay these rather large gold premiums that come from the future? Well, we're banking on our Zancudo project and the execution of the mine plan that's now underway to deliver the after-tax free cash flows that we're going to need to do this. This is an example using $3,500 gold price for the life of mine of the existing resource for the project and using the current cost structure of the company. At $3,500 gold, we've got a cash cost of about $1,900, very low ongoing sustaining capital cost. We'll generate over $600 million of after-tax free cash flow over the next 10 years from this project. And at $3,500, we're going to be paying out about $100 million of gold premiums. That leaves the company with about $500 million of after-tax free cash flow when we're at $3,500. And over the next 3 or 4 years, as we're repaying those convertible debentures, we're keeping over $200 million of that cash in our treasury. If I was to do the same model at $4,000 gold, which is where we've capped the gold premiums at, the company's going to generate another $100 million of free cash flow after tax over that 10-year period, and we're going to keep $75 million of that in our treasury and pay an extra $25 million out to holders. So as gold prices go up, the company is benefiting from those higher prices in our cash flow, and the shareholders that put up the money to be able to build the Zancudo asset are getting a very decent return for putting up that early risk-reward capital. The Zancudo project is located in the Cauca Belt, about 30 kilometers southwest of Medellin. It's a prolific gold district. We've had significant experience in that district with both the Segovia operations to the north and the Marmato operations to the south. We sit amongst a number of very large projects, and we think our project can become as big as any of those projects that we're looking at. But what it's going to need is drilling. We've got about 1,000 hectares of title. We've currently only drilled about 20% of it. And from the 40,000 meters of historical drilling that was available to us, our initial resource back in 2023 has 4.1 million tons, 1 million ounces gold equivalent, with grades averaging 6.5 grams gold and 107 grams silver. We've started early production, and the reason I say it that way is because the long-term production using semi-mechanized mining and producing concentrate is going to come once we get our plant built by the end of the first quarter next year. In this early phase, while the mine contractor is doing the development to open up the mining fronts that'll feed that plant, we are taking material through artisanal areas that we can crush, bag, and ship to port and sell to Trafigura. Trafigura is paying us about 70% on gold based on the current grades and about 30% on silver. Important to note in those deliveries, they're not that large, but we're delivering close to 300 tons a month at the moment, but we're getting gold grades close to 9 grams per ton, and we're getting silver grades around 200 grams per ton. We're making about $1,000 US for every ounce we produce. In the last couple of months, we've produced about 50, 60 ounces per month. So again, not huge, but this is cash flow that's going to start to grow over the next few months as the mining rates begin to pick up, as the development continues to open those fronts, and we're starting to make cash flow. And it's all as we anticipate getting the final permit we need to build our industrial facility, and we expect that permit in the next couple of weeks. Once we do that, we can start construction on our 1,000-ton-a-day plant, all of which is sitting in containers on site ready to go. We expect to get it installed and commissioned by the end of the first quarter next year. And we do so, the economics in this project improves. We're going to be selling a high-grade gold-silver concentrate to Trafigura. They're going to raise the payment rate to up to 86 to 90% on gold and 35 to 45% on silver. The other thing that happens, our mining costs improve, our transportation costs improve, and we're going to see that at $3,500 gold, our all-in sustaining cost is $1,900, $1,600 pre-tax margin, about $1,000 after tax. The plant is going to be tremendous for us. We're going to produce concentrate that includes about 30 grams per ton of gold and over 500 grams per ton of silver. I mentioned that we did about 40,000 meters of drilling previously in Grand Colombia and through IM Gold. We've since drilled about 7,000 meters as Denarius in 2024, and in the first half of it, on the map you can see the gold shaded area running down the right-hand side. That's where the current resource of 1 million ounces is located. We started drilling the yellow circled area and getting high grades, continuity, and doing it on 50 by 50 meter centers. The second half of that program, we did the same in the Las Brisas area, continuing to get the same kind of results. And not surprising to us, we also found another new vein system that had not previously been identified, something very common in the Cauca Belt from our experience. We're currently working on an updated PEA for the Zancudo project that we expect to have out in the near term. It's going to include an updated mineral resource estimate with some of the inferred ounces migrating up to indicated, and we're going to have an updated mine plan and cash flow plan that will demonstrate the economics that we have from this project, which is very, very exciting. And then with a few minutes left to go here before some Q&A, we've got the Spanish project. Spain is an area that we also really like. Similar to the last company that was speaking, we have a project designated as one of the 47 critical mineral strategic projects in Agua Blanca. Agua Blanca sits about less than 100 kilometers from our Lomero project. It's a key enabler for us in our strategy to be able to produce in a single hub materials from several projects that we're going to feed into it. Agua Blanca is a nickel copper producer. We've got an offtake contract with Boliden, and we're going to be starting production on that project within the next 12 months. The key to us in that transaction, while the underground mine is important, is more importantly this 5,000 ton a day plant. It was built by Lundin. It operated for 11 years. It's been mothballed since 2016. It's in great shape, and we can get it back into operation in about 8 months. What's important about it is we're going to use some of that capacity for our Lomero project. We put together a reserve on that underground nickel project. We got about a 6-year life using half the capacity. It's got a cost of under $4 AISC at current prices. You know, one of the diversification benefits is while nickel's down a little bit since the study, all the other byproduct metals are up. So it's a very economic project and can be expanded with further exploration. In the main ore body there is where we will be mining over that 6-year period. Our exploration that'll start next year is going to focus on those other satellite zones to add another 3 to 4 years to the underground mine life. Our Lomero project, the one we bought in 2021, is a prolific polymetallic project located in the Iberian Pyrite Belt. We really like the history of this project. In the pink area you can see in the Lomero title, that is the location of the current resource, a former underground 6-level mine, about 10 kilometers from Matz's Agua Tenidas project. The resource currently sits at about 11 million tons. And what's most notable to us, aside from the fact it's a very prominent copper equivalent project, is it's some of the highest grades of gold in the belt. Similar to Emerita, we've been testing metallurgical recovery methods, particularly using roasting to liberate the gold from the pyrite. And with that, we believe that this can become a gold-focused project with significant returns. And that's the subject of a PEA that we're currently working on and expect to finalize by the end of this year. And lastly, our Teruel project in the north of Spain, a high-grade zinc project. It's a little later stage for us. It's more of a green phase of exploration. We've done a fair bit of drilling in addition to what was done by the predecessors. We like the resource, and we'll start getting into scoping studies later this year that are going to focus on finding a plant alternative so that we don't have to build a new plant at Teruel. We can focus on the mining and accelerate the production from that project by taking the material to an existing plant to produce it. Currently has about 20 million tons in resource, 7 out of the 20 million in the indicated category, almost a 9% zinc equivalent, and we think this is going to be a very good project to add into the portfolio of what we have in Spain. So with that, a minute to go, I'd ask if there's any questions that we can do.
And thank you. So can you give us some details on in Colombia, engagement with the informal miners and the artisanal miners? Because on the case of Denarius mining, it's important to having a productive engagement with them.
Yeah, that's a terrific question, and it's one that we know very well because in Segovia with Aris Mining, we were the ones that did the community socialization over the 12-year period leading up to the transaction with Aris. We created that artisanal mining model to incorporate the community into the title. We're fortunate in the Zancudo project that we don't have artisanal or illegal miners. What we do have is 7 communities surrounding the project, and what the communities are really looking for is return of economic prosperity. So our ESG program in Zancudo is a little differently structured and focused than what we did in Segovia and also in Marmato, because here we're about restoring jobs and about bringing economic prosperity back to the title. Most of the visitors to our office in Titraby every month are looking to fill out applications, and we've got people to working on those programs.
Excellent. Right. Thanks very much, Michael.
Thank you.